It's Steve Clark. It's Inside the Game. Good morning, Steve. And just a reminder, one of us picked the winner for last night's game. That was Mr. Ron Finn. When we got together, we all picked winners, and he's the one that got it right.
Good
morning,
Steve. I was talking about the Puppy Bowl.
I got some money on that game, and so I won too.
Oh, you did win. All right.
I did pick Seattle. I went with the Michigan coach. You went with the Ohio State coach, Dave.
Yeah.
Not surprising from either of us in that situation, and Seattle ended up winning. You know, Dave, just before we get started, with everybody taking the day off today after the Super Bowl hangover, I mean, we should be having record ratings. Going on for morning offering today. But I gotta give you some advice. When you're playing the game of fake news or true news, you got to go to a different type of press conference leadership, because when you lose, you just can't make a bunch of excuses about how close you were to being right.
It's my way, man. It's my way.
I know. I mean, when a player does that, the columns go wild about not taking accountability, lack of leadership, hesitancy, all that sort of stuff. So, just a reminder, Dave.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
athletes
that.
are in a general different state when it comes to living with the results.
Yeah, same thing I did with the truancy officer when my kid got in trouble. It's just kind of my habit. Good morning, Steve. You're on the boat. Tell us a little bit about that real quick.
I am. We were just off the shores of Miami, Florida right now. We just left late last night from Fort Lauderdale. And we're on the Holland American Cruise Lines for the Good News Cruise. It's the 6th annual Good News Cruise. And for this time, this is the first time that everybody on the boat is a part of the Good News Cruise,
fabulous.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Everybody is getting to know one another. We have so many speakers. And, Dave, I'm just so sorry that you weren't able to come down. It was a last-minute thing with you, and I'm just sorry that you weren't able to make it, and all my best to you.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it, and I would tell you, I mean, when you start off with Jesus, I mean, he was the first speaker. Jonathan Rumi, of course, not the Jesus, but TV Jesus. That's pretty good.
No, it was. The Chosen is still going on. I think it's done like 6 seasons so far. He said at the beginning of the interview, because Father Joe Corrupt, those that are aware of him, just conducted a fantastic 5-minute interview. Oh, no, it was an hour-long interview, but the first 5 minutes was just them riffing with one another about what to say next. It was sort of like watching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, right.
And Rumi said, this may be the best start to an interview I've ever had. And I think he meant it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was really sincere, because it was so good.
Father Krupp always is the MC there, and if you're not familiar with, most of our listeners probably are, but if you're not, you've got to check out his podcast. Absolutely fantastic.
Very funny.
All right, let's jump into the game. I don't think the first 3 quarters were what people were expecting, but you have to say that was some tough defense on Seattle Seahawks' part.
Yeah, dominated by defense by both teams in the first 3 quarters. Not a single touchdown, Dave. You pointed that out until you went to bed. That's what they were waiting for. A.J. Barner, the former Wolverine, with the first touchdown early in that quarter. Now, former Spartan Kenneth Walker named the game's MVP. The first running back since Terrell Davis 28 years ago for the Denver Broncos. He was the Seattle offense for most of the game. Seattle somehow scored 29 points. But they were on 5 field goals, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 defensive touchdown. The story in this, though, is Seattle's interior defensive line just overwhelming the Patriots' offensive line without blitzing, by the way. And when you can keep 7 back with all that speed in the NFL, this is different than college. Those windows for a quarterback to throw into is really, really difficult. Most teams have to blitz. Seattle didn't have to. And Drake May found out the hard way that it's going to be really difficult to win.
Yeah, and look, Seattle Seahawks, lowest number of points allowed for the whole year, 17 points on average. And Patriots didn't even get there.
No, and the Patriots had like the 3rd best scoring mark in the NFL in the regular season. A part of that has to do with their scheduling. in who they were playing. But, yeah, just New England was overwhelmed by good defense in this one. The Patriots are going to be second-guessed for their offense and perhaps a conservative offensive game plan. Look for that in your sports headlines about how New England should have tried to go for it more. But, you saw what happened when they did air it out in the fourth quarter. They did get their only TD that way, but then afterwards they threw an inexplicable interception down the middle of the field, and then there was the strip sack interception towards the end that allowed Seattle to look like they had this dominated. Last week I said this was either going to be about a new Patriots championship with a quarterback younger than Tom Brady when he won the first title, or it's going to be a story about redemption and Sam Darnold, who many didn't think he could be a starter in this league anymore, and he's now a Super Bowl winner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if it was as big of a game. I didn't have as much interest in these two teams, this matchup for this Super Bowl. But it was a pretty good game. I mean, it's fun to watch good defense work like that.
It really depends on what you like when you watch a game.
True,
sometimes great defense is a miserable football game. Sometimes great defense is a fantastic football game. When you're seeing sacks, you're seeing good technique on the defensive side, good open field tackling. I mean, I think some people go for that. If you're dropping passes or committing penalties and it's a low-scoring game, they're going to say it's miserable. So I think there was some good plays being made defensively on both teams.
Yeah, I mean, one penalty in the first half. That's it. Also, only 3 first downs by the Patriots the whole first half, and then not only one until the beginning of the fourth quarter for them in the second half. It was just absolutely crazy to see what the Seattle Seahawks were doing to the offensive line for the Patriots all night long, just pushing them back into Drake May. And even when he had the opportunity to hit an open receiver, he was just off because they had him flustered all night long.
Sure. You talk about the lack of penalties, Dave. That could also potentially be a reason why it was a defensive game. Because if they're not calling anything, defensively, then maybe that's a reason why the score is low. I didn't watch the game that closely enough to try to figure that out. But, sometimes we get upset in basketball when too many fouls are being called. Sometimes, depending on the game and how the players are, you need to call the fouls.
Yeah.
You just absolutely need to. And the same way with football with the flags. Guys, before we wrap up, I don't know if you saw this or not. Talk about being inside the game. Regulators have approved ESPN having control of NFL media assets, all of it, for a 10% ownership in the worldwide leader. This has me thinking.
Whoa. Yeah.
Will ESPN be the first to know and report news the NFL wants you to know, and the last to report news on what the NFL doesn't want you to know?
Right.
That's what it sounds like to me.
And will some ESPN documentaries, say like on concussions or reparations for the NFLPA, will they be removed from their vast library? And will anyone even notice?
Yeah, good question. Wow.
That doesn't sound healthy. We'll keep you informed as best we can each Monday here on Morning Offering with Inside the Game. Thanks, Steve. God
Steve
bless
Clark,
you.
Inside the Game and on the ship. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks.